thank you for taking the time to share your story with us. I kind of wanted to start with something that you said in your submission about how you always knew that you would have cancer. That's kind of a big weight to deal with. Can you tell me why it is that you felt like that?
Well, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and his mother, my grandmother, had died of cancer, and a number of my dad's brothers and sisters did too. So I never saw anybody survive a diagnosis. And what ended up happening, like, I took after my dad more so than my mom. Like, my dad's taller, my mom was like 4'11", and just, I was dad's daughter. And I just knew it. I always knew that that was going to be it, because there was so much of it in our family, like a ton, just a ton. And you always just went to funerals.
Did that weigh on you? Did you think about it a lot, that so many people in your family had cancer?
No, it was just in the back of my mind. I was diagnosed 8 years after my father passed away of bladder cancer. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was almost relieved in a way that it was breast cancer instead of an organ like a liver or bladder or something like that. I thought, well, I can live without them. That's not going to be a problem. So in a way, it was like a relief, I think, that it was that.
Okay, so can you kind of talk me through what it was like when you found out that you yourself had cancer?
Well, I was getting mammograms from my 30s, probably middle 30s, up until 40. And as a realtor, I got busy and then didn't get mammograms for like 3 years. And then I noticed puckering under my breast, and I thought, well, that's not good. Went to the doctors, and they sent me, and they noticed something in there. So we met with a surgeon like a day or two before we were leaving for Hawaii for a 3-week vacation for our 25th anniversary. So it's like, do you cancel the trip? What do you do? And I remember the surgeon saying, no, we'll schedule everything. You can just do it when you come back, go out there and have a good time. And the one thing that helped me through it, I think, so much was the fact that I had gone to a Tony Robbins seminar, because our real estate company paid for half of it to go, which they never pay for half of anything to go anywhere. And it was so empowering, because it was like a message that was given to me before I was leaving. And it basically said, he was talking about, when you're somewhere, be there. And, you become what you focus on. And I thought, I don't want to focus on this cancer part. I just want to enjoy Hawaii. And I was bound and determined from the beginning that I was going to survive it and kind of break the family legacy. So we went out there, and I'll look at my husband a little bit, but we went out and had a fabulous time. I got on a helicopter, which I never would have done, but I kind of thought, what the heck? Yeah. At this point, let's just go for it. And it never really even was entering my mind, except we were on a cruise, and the captain married everybody, did a renewal of vows to everybody that was celebrating an anniversary. That was like a reality, I think, that hit. That, okay, well, we don't know where we're going to be. And when we were out there, this is like one of the cooler parts. We were up in, this one tourist area on Oahu, and you saw like the different islands of Polynesia. And I remember seeing Tahiti, and it was like the outfits were gorgeous, the music was awesome, and I said, oh, I'd love to go to Tahiti, and I'll cry. But my husband said, when you turn 50, which was going to be like 6 years later, he said, I'll take you to Tahiti. And this is without us knowing what my diagnosis was going to be when I got back, because I was going to have the surgery and have the tumor removed. And it ended up that when I turned 50, we went to Tahiti.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
What was the process like going through figuring out your treatment, and what was the treatment itself like?
Well, you go and you have your surgery, they remove it, and then I had what you call close margins, meaning the tissue that they took out. I had a lumpectomy. The tissue that they took out was, the cancer cells were close to the end of it, so they had to go back in. And that was the only time I'd ever been in the hospital overnight. And so I had that done, and then it was like, well, now we have to think about what your follow-up, treatment's going to be. So I ended up having chemo for 6 months, and then I did 35 radiation treatments, and then did 5 years of tamoxifen and 5 years of Femara. So basically did treatment for like 11 years.
Oh my gosh.
But now it's been it'll be 21 years in September, so.
Okay, so I know that you are really involved in the Relay for Life program. So can you tell me about how you got started with that?
Well, the real estate company I worked for at the time, which was Murray Realty, they formed a relay team. And it was the first time I'd even heard about relay. I definitely would have done it if I had heard about it before, for my dad. But we got there as a team, and I remember walking up and seeing all the Luminaria bags. This is when it was down at Millersville. And there were like a couple thousand of them. And I thought it was for all the dead people. Yeah. Because I'd never seen anybody survive it.
So was this before or after you were diagnosed?
It was after. I was still undergoing treatment. I was undergoing radiation at the time. Yeah. So, and I'll cry. I'll try not to. I have my paper towel here for hot flash and I'm crying. But I remember getting there and seeing that, and then walked up to the Luminaria and saw that there were more in honor of than in memory of. Oh, you like cut or something. But, so, and I'll cry again because it was such a gift given to me to be there. You're undergoing treatment, you're tired. What chemo does to people, I don't think anybody can understand. The fatigue is just undescribable. So you're very tired and you get there, and I kept seeing the word hope written everywhere. And I thought, what does hope mean? Like, hope you live, hope you don't suffer, hope it's, you go quick. I mean, whatever it may be. And I remember getting in what they call the survivor lap, where they get all the survivors together, and there were hundreds of them down there. And everybody had like a sign with how many years or whatever. And I remember mine was like 9 months. And I turned around, and like I had never seen anybody survive a disease. And you would see like children with 5-year signs, and adults with or teenagers with 10-year signs, and adults with 20 and 30 and all that.
Wow, so that really had a lot of meaning for you, huh?
I can remember when I was diagnosed, I said, allow me to live and I'll give back. I didn't know how. And then I found my way through that. And so I was part of the relay team with the company. And then in 2001, we formed Captain Morgan's Cancer Crusaders. Nothing to do with the rum, but there might have been a rum bottle on the table when we came up with the name. And so we just started, just a group of friends getting together, wanted to support, the cause, and everybody's been touched by cancer in one way or another. So I think our first fundraiser was just like not having the last drink of the night when we met at Mosby's or something. We raised $1,200 and we thought, this fundraising stuff's easy. Like, hey, we can do that. And our goal was to raise $5,000, and we somehow raised $7,500 that first year. And now after this event, we've raised over $1.2 million by just throwing parties. And we're fundraisers with dances and bus trips to Fells Points and things at the winery and donations, just donations from people. It's incredible. We don't cook, we don't bake. I'm sure there's a lot of talent on our team, but we're pretty good at the party part of it. Yeah, and we have great supporters, just great supporters, because we kind of feel that it's not us, we're a conduit to those people that want to make a difference. So we're a conduit to the American Cancer Society between, the average folk and kind of our crazy group and the American Cancer Society. So I'm extremely proud of everybody that's on our team.
So your Relay for Life group, you guys are the top grossing group in this area, right?
Well, we've been the top fundraising team at the Relay for Life of Lancaster since 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. We decided that we were just going to kind of cut back a little bit, and just after we hit the million in 2016, we thought what we're going to do is just do the fun stuff. We'll do the dances. We won't do some of the other things that we did, like candle sales and things like that. And like this year we raised $76,000, like almost in spite of ourselves, I think. Yeah, so.
Wow, that is great. And you're the leader of the group, correct?
I'm the team captain.
You're the team captain.
I'm the team captain. Gail Goodhart's my co-captain, and she's an incredible person. She definitely would be somebody that you should look into, because, man, if the world was full of people like her, we'd be living in a utopia. Yeah, she was my dentist assistant You know,
really?
yeah, so that's how I met her, yeah. Just going and get my teeth cleaned and looked at.
Okay, and I didn't realize until I read your submission, but your group is actually the top grossing, and Pennsylvania, this area, is the top grossing group for Relay for Life. Is that correct?
Oh, the Relay for Life of Lancaster in 2018 was like #2 in the world for funds raised at Relay out of like close to between 4,000 and 5,000 sites.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going. I mean, I think it's in 21 countries. And then the top one is Gwinnett, Georgia, which is where the American Cancer Society is located in Atlanta. But Little Lancaster County is #2.
So how does it feel to be such a big part of that your group is the top group and it's in the top grossing area for this program?
It's, you know, like I've always said that it's never about like one person, one team, or one event. It's just one goal. So we come together for that. I mean, I'm definitely proud of the team, but it's everybody. You know, there's another group that's a really successful team down in Florida. It's called Castaways Against Cancer. And what they do, they raise like $100,000 by, I think, kayaking from Miami to Key West. And they've got, if you ever get a chance, look, I'm giving like kudos to, like, I mean, they're awesome. They were, when we'd go to like a national thing, it would be Captain Morgan's and then, you know, Castaways Against Cancer next to us. They're just like awesome people. There's so many stories with the Relay. I mean, just incredible stories.
And you yourself, you're involved with the program nationally as well, right?
I was on the national advisory team. I was a division chair, you know, for the Pennsylvania division, and then we formed. So, yeah, I kind of worked my way up to that, and, you know, and I've always said that you know, a leader just creates more leaders, so you kind of roll off and let the next group come through.
So when you had been doing Relay for Life for a couple of years, when was the point when you yourself realized that you were cancer-free?
Well, they tell you you're a survivor from the day you're diagnosed. And I think you always kind of wait a little bit for the ball to drop, maybe initially, because usually the most aggressive cancers come back within 2 years. So you wait to get to the 2-year mark, and then you hear about the 5-year mark. Like when I was diagnosed, there wasn't a lot of the internet presence. You know, that was 98, so it wasn't as involved as it is now, and there was just like one book out about it. And you would always hear about 5 years, and I thought, God, am I only going to make it 5 years? You know, I've got a lot to do. And all that. And then, like, you know, here it is 21 years later almost, and yeah, and have done a lot. And I think the biggest thing about the cancer diagnosis, I can honestly say, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You're able to like eliminate negativity and toxic people because you have now an excuse, like out, you know, that kind of a thing. And you focus so much, you're given a chance. So it's up to you what you do with that. You know, some people can be victims or they can be survivors of the disease, but I find like 99% are survivors no matter what their diagnosis is. And I'm a Reach to Recovery volunteer where I'll talk to newly diagnosed women with breast cancer. And just the power that they feel. It's such a difference between my dad's generation and mine. And, you know, the other thing I've always said is that they didn't have, my dad's, you know, family, like his brothers and sisters, they didn't have the opportunity to survive. And somebody raised funds in order to do the research that allowed me to live. So it's kind of an honor and a duty for me to pay that forward for the next generation, for people I'll never meet, because somebody did it for me.
And how would you say that it feels to break that family legacy that you had of all of these people passing away from cancer to be the one who survives and breaks that legacy?
Wonderful. And now I think I have cousins that are cancer survivors and all that kind of stuff, so things have definitely changed. But yeah, it's empowering. It's not the death sentence that it was. And I've known people that have dire diagnosis that they've never been a victim of the disease, no matter how long, you know, they lived or whatever. But I know one girl, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and she lived her life like up until the end. And I wish we could convey to people, you know, she lived her life so passionately that you wish that people wouldn't have to have something happen to them to get that, you know, that you could just kind of instill it into people that, you know, try to find the best. Don't complain about the little things that go on, you know. It is the small stuff. I mean, it definitely is. But sometimes we make it too big when I'm glad I was given the bigger picture.